The Murkoff Corporation emerged as a clandestine biomedical research entity during the height of the Cold War, employing deceitful recruitment to harvest human guinea pigs for experimental trials. Publicly portrayed as a leader in mental health breakthroughs, the company pursued scientific progress while concealing its darkest ambitions. By 1959, Murkoff had established the Sinaloa facility in Arizona, where volunteers known as regents were surgically fitted with night vision devices and subjected to lethal challenges under the guise of therapy. Investors marveled at promised breakthroughs, unaware that profit, not patient welfare, drove every decision. Early experiments were conducted under the codename Project LATHE, overseen by Dr. Hendrik Juliet Easterman in collaboration with the CIA to produce sleeper agents for covert operations. These trials aimed to create operatives capable of infiltrating and sabotaging pro-communist regimes, reflecting Murkoff's willingness to weaponize the human mind. Volunteers were lured by charity-themed flyers before being transported against their will to subterranean labs. Once there, surgical implants transformed them into living test subjects stripped of autonomy. Abduction tactics targeted society's most vulnerable, including the homeless, dissidents, and those desperate enough to trust corporate promises. Flyers for Murkoff's so-called charity program invited participants with assurances of support, then facilitated their disappearance into the Sinaloa facility. Few understood the fate awaiting them beyond the laboratory gates. Microwave towers installed around the test sites unintentionally warped the consciousness of both subjects and staff, inducing religious fervor and auditory hallucinations. Survivors reported visions shaped by corporate propaganda, transforming scientific inquiry into twisted worship. These distortions coalesced into a fanatical sect known as the Testament of the New Ezekiel, convinced that Murkoff's experiments served a divine mission. The cult believed human suffering was a purification ritual ordained by higher powers. Cult leaders exploited isolation, indoctrination, and chemical coercion to shatter individual dissent. State-sponsored radio broadcasts severed ties with families and reinforced the cult's dogma. When experiments failed, coerced mass suicides became ritualistic demonstrations of communal faith. Murkoff refined its horror by designing themed test chambers monitored by constant propaganda, each environment tailored to evoke primal fear. The sleep room offered brief psychological respite, but served mainly as a platform for Easterman's corporate sermons. Surveillance cameras recorded every tremor of fear, every pleading glance, ensuring no reaction went unanalyzed. Escape from one trial simply ushered participants into darker experiments, each claiming to be the next step in human evolution. Regents confronted failed experiments known as X-Pops, whose broken psyches turned them into deadly sentinels. Prime assets such as Mother Gooseberry, a disgraced children's show host, and Leland Coyle, a sadistic ex-police sergeant, personified corporate cruelty. Futterman's hand puppet duck and Coyle's electric baton became hallmarks of terror. Each corridor presented unpredictable predator combinations that tested both mental fortitude and physical endurance. The facility itself was a labyrinth of sterile hallways, biohazard zones, and echoing screams. Flickering lights cast grotesque shadows on walls stained by experimental fluids. Hidden audio logs captured staff confessing moral conflict before disappearing without trace. Smeared journals and chemical warnings hinted at mounting desperation within Murkoff's ranks. Completion of the release protocol offered a final door into an eternal void, presented as freedom but serving only as another cage. Participants awoke in locales as varied as a blood-soaked hotel room in Cuba, stripped of identity and forever tethered to Murkoff's whims. Other endings found them strapped to explosive devices in Vietnam or haunted by phantom assassins, each scenario demanding a coded surrender to corporate control. Every outcome highlighted Murkoff's mastery at transforming escape into deeper entrapment. Survivors bore scars from implanted devices and chemical exposure, literal marks of corporate betrayal. Echoes of Easterman's code words infiltrated dreams, blurring the line between memory and induced suggestion. Many succumbed to dissociative breakdowns, trapped in analytical nightmares of their own making. Official debriefings produced heavily redacted records, shielding the public from the true scope of devastation. The collapse of Temple Gate after Outlast 2 left mass graves and shattered towers as silent evidence of cult fanaticism. Although the cult officially disbanded in mass suicide, splinter cells carried fragments of the Testament doctrine into global underground networks. Murkoff's covert broadcast systems ensured whispered echoes of corporate dogma persisted long after facilities fell silent. The Nuremberg Code of 1947 established voluntary informed consent as the cornerstone of ethical human experimentation, forbidding coercion and prioritizing beneficence. It mandated explicit consent and scientific validity, rejecting any non-therapeutic research without participant agreement. The 1964 Declaration of Helsinki expanded these principles, insisting medical research put patient welfare above scientific or societal gains. Independent review boards became a cornerstone of trial oversight, safeguarding subjects' rights and well-being. Destructive cults exploit deception and undue influence to demand loyalty and obedience, frequently isolating members from external support. Gaslighting tactics distort reality by denying victims access to truthful information, eroding self-trust and autonomy. Authoritarian leadership punishes dissent swiftly, ensuring compliance through fear and manipulation. Recognizing these coercive persuasion techniques is vital to protect individuals from lasting psychological harm. Critical thinking empowers individuals to weigh evidence, consider alternatives, and anticipate potential consequences before acting. By fostering skepticism towards simplistic slogans and absolute claims, people maintain autonomy and ethical clarity. Demanding transparency and questioning authority serve as practical defenses against manipulation. Ultimately, reasoned analysis remains the best safeguard to ensure science and belief serve humanity, not corporate fanaticism.